I'm Megan Schwitzing with the Real Women of Philadelphia. Cream cheese, that is. And it looks like something's going to happen, doesn't it? Well, it sure is. I'm going to make cordial cupcakes today. Life today, for me, is not just one but two bowls of cherries. It wasn't always that way. I learned very quickly, or very early in life, to savor all of my blessings. My parents went from the country club couple hosting poker nights to hospital visits, and then mom raising 4 children on her own on Social Security. So we didn't get too many treats. So with candies, I would take half a bite and then another bite. So that's almost like having twice as much candy. One of the best memories that I have is biting into a cherry cordial. And the first time I bit into one, it kind of like split open, and I was like, luckily the little hidden treasure in there didn't fall out. But I've learned since then to bite into them and kind of hold all of that candy and yummy goodness inside it and that little chocolate cup that it kind of makes. To start making the cordial cupcakes, we're going to use a whole package of white cake mix and make a little well in the bottom. We're going to crack 3 eggs. Now, my mother was raised on a farm, so we just break them up and then separate. And if a shell goes in, we just dig it out with the eggshell. That's all I knew and learned until watching everybody on Food Network. But I like to stick to what I know and stuff, usually. From an 18-ounce jar of cherries, I've separated 24 stemmed, and pull the stems out of 24 of the others. I'm going to set these up here, and I'll show you what to do with those later. I've also drained 1 1/4 cup of the cherry liquid. If you don't have enough to make 1 1/4 cup, you'll add however much it takes to get 1 1/4 cup liquid. So add a little bit of water. Another thing I'm going to add to this is cherry jello, and that will also add flavoring. So stir that up. Throw that in there. Oh, that looks nice. Okay. And the recipe calls for 1/4 cup of oil, or not 1/4 cup, 1/2. Heat for 30 seconds on low to medium speed, and then you ramp it up for about 2 minutes. So, see, 2 minutes. Everybody has tricks to even cupcakes. I just use a 1/4 cup or a little measuring cup and eyeball it. Hopefully this will help someone, because I know there's a bunch of bad weather out in the east now. If you're outside in a thunderstorm and your hair stands up, you need to get away as quickly as possible, because that means that there's enough static electricity in the air to possibly cause a lightning bolt to occur. While my mother was on the farm with her mother and father, and she was one of 6 children, my mother and everyone was out in the fields, and a thunderstorm suddenly came up. They were hurrying up to get everything together to come in from the storm, and all of a sudden everyone's hair started standing up on end. And they thought it was the funniest thing. They were laughing their heads off while the finger of God was hovering about to cut off a branch of the family tree. I'm going to place these in a preheated 325-degree oven for 16 to 21 minutes. checking after 16. In the meantime, I'm going to put 1 cup of heavy cream over low heat, and once it starts to simmer, put 12 ounces of chocolate chips, minus about milliounces, I guess. I'll also be starting to boil 1/3 cup of white corn syrup and 1/3 cup of sugar over medium-high heat. I'm just going to stir this until all of the sugar dissolves. And then I'm going to let it boil. This is where a candy thermometer will come in handy. Whenever you boil sugar, you need to get a much bigger pot than what you're putting in, because the sugar, which is super hot and super sticky, will swell. We're going to be looking for the softball stage, which is 240 degrees. 239, 40. Now I'm going to put in, not frozen solid, but it's pretty cold. While this is coming together, it kind of cools it off. I'm just going to stir that until it gets nice and smooth. Okay, check that out. I put the really sweet, creamy filling into a bowl to cool a little bit further. The milk is almost starting to simmer, so I'm going to turn off the heat, dump in the chocolate chips, cover, and wait for 5 minutes. We've had these chocolate chips sitting in that heavy cream, and now I'm just going to whisk it, stirring lightly at the beginning. That is beautiful. Yum. What is more cordial than a little doily? I melted 8 ounces of white chocolate to make our doilies. Because my best friend got me into cake decorating, I have a lot of interesting little tips and bags. I'm going to use a grass tip to make these. Just make little flowers. See how that kind of strings out. I finish these up and pop them in the refrigerator to cool for about 10 minutes while I get everything else together. I'm going to use another bag and fill it with that filling. The bag and get it into that cupcake and just twirl around as much as you can. Fill it up. Now for the first bowl of cherries with no stems. We're just going to put one into each cupcake. You don't have to worry about the tops because they're going to be covered with cute little doilies, and you guessed it, a cherry on top. Our ganache is still nice and smooth to work with. We just dip and spread a little bit on the top. Take the doilies off and get them onto our cupcakes. And so that our little cherries on top won't roll around, I'm going to put a little glob of our leftover filling. How cute are those cupcakes? Thank you again, Craft Equal and Paula Dean and all of the lovely ladies of RWAP. I cannot wait until next season. See you in a little bit. Bye.